One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free, then let me be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel and a spirit unbroken, he rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his step, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report he paves his way. More legend in the making, day by day.
Much love, honor, and respect to all of you legends. It is a beautiful Friday morning. Let's get it, man. Great to see everyone in the chat, man. I'm always honored to be able to do this Monday through Friday, and of course Saturday morning for members only, which is going to be tomorrow morning. So we got a lot to discuss this morning. Iran war update, U.S. and Israel strike, as well as Waltz is to testify today. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to actually pull any of that up today. I think that's going to be kind of ongoing. But at least you guys know it's happening. And then we have Mullin DHS nomination advances. Well, shit. All right, so let me go ahead and give you guys a chronological breakdown of what we're looking at this morning. And we're looking at Iranian missile strikes oil refinery in Israel. Saw that shit coming. And then we have Trump yesterday, while he was with... I think it was yesterday or the day before. I can't really remember if it was yesterday or the day before. But nonetheless, they put it out, like the actual video on mainstream media of Trump having that bilateral meeting with the Japanese prime minister. And it's pretty fucking funny, actually. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty great. I got a certain clip that I want to show you guys, and probably a lot of you guys have heard about it on social media. If you guys are on social media, I just wanted to go ahead and show you guys that here in a minute, though. And then we have Bibi Netanyahu says, the claim is ridiculous that we dragged U.S. into this war. Now, I think that is a question that is being proposed to Netanyahu. I'm not very sure. I actually haven't watched it yet, so I'm just going based off of the title name. And then Iran war, Pentagon seeks $200 billion in additional funds. We talked about that yesterday, and we saw exactly what was being asked of. The Pentagon basically went to the White House / Congress for another $200 billion siphon, or funding. So then we have Iran war. Trump considers sending, quote, military reinforcements to the Middle East. Now, of course, that was not something that was ever off the table, and I was always saying along this way, I hope that we just don't send anything more than what we already have there and no boots on the ground. That's the way I look at all of this. So, and then we have Middle East latest. Hegseth warns that U.S. military controls Iran's fate. And actually, that is pretty true. That is pretty true. Then we have CENTCOM says F-35 jet forced to make an emergency landing after Iran combat mission. Now, luckily, Hal Kempfer is going to be on that one to go ahead and give us a breakdown of what actually happened there on the F-35 jet being forced to make an emergency landing. Then we have a terrible, terrible thing that just came out 30 minutes ago, by the way, everybody. Breaking news, Chuck Norris is dead at 86 after hospitalization, man. That is terrible. So that's what we're looking at this morning, and we're about to get into all the craziness. First, let's go ahead and do our call to actions, and then we'll say hi real quick. We got to briefly do that, and then get right into these stories, man. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. It helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so. Double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. I very much appreciate that. Also, hit that subscribe button. This is what we do Monday through Friday, and then, of course, members only for Saturday morning, which is tomorrow, by the way. Speaking of membership, please consider becoming a member. Starting only at $3.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to keep these lights on as well as be on these airwaves. So thank you guys for becoming members and then staying members. Little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as the campaign trail. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one as well. We have a Discord server for all of you legends, by the way. Go into the video description down below of any live video, and that's where our invite link is for the Discord. That's where all of us in the IWF hang out after the show and bounce questions, memes, whatever, it doesn't matter. Also, listen, we're going to be shouting out all super chats, super stickers, gift memberships, and membership signups. So, of course, we're going to present it live and shout it out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, by the way, we have these platforms that you guys can donate to, scrolling around the screen somewhere. And I will read out loud your donation, where I get to have 100% of the proceeds, by the way. And I'll read it out loud just like a super chat. So I've got my email up. I'm scanning it at all times. And we're pretty much going to get right into it, man. So let's go ahead and see who's here for the morning. We got Rabbit of Chaos as well as Tiffany. We got Gary in the building. We got Prez as well as Charles Darwin from Down Under. Great to see you in the chat. We got Miss Lotus as well as Brother Straight Jacket. Great to see his Sicko Smoke. Actually, 6-7 Smoke now. We got Liquored Up with Poncho. Good morning, kind sir. Great to see you. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning as well. We got TJ in the building. We got Seymour Cannabis as well. Good morning to you guys. Brother Steve Easy saying double tap that screen and give a like for Mike. That's a fact, Jack. All right, scrolling on down. We got Are We Not Men? Good morning. Great to see you in the chat as well, bro. We're making our way down. We got SST as well. And Sick Bastard. Yes, sir. Great to see you. And we're scrolling as fast as humanly possible. I'm sorry, guys. Chuck Norris, beard never dies. That's true. All right, we're going to get right into the craziness. Let's go ahead and break this down. We're going to first start off with Iranian missile strikes oil refinery in Israel.
As I want to pop this up on your screen, Israeli officials saying the electricity grid in the north has now been damaged, as video that's circulating on social media is showing a fire near a refinery in Haifa. Now, Barak Ravid, you're looking at his post here. He is with Axios.
What's up, Go Fast? Great to see you in the chat as well. Happy Friday to everybody.
Breaking, Iranian missile has hit an oil refinery in Haifa. Again, at this point, we don't have a lot of information, but we do continue to follow all of that, and we'll keep you updated as we get additional details. Also want to take you out to this video right here, as Israel's military releasing footage after striking Iranian targets in the Caspian Sea for the first time ever. Lieutenant Colonel Nadav Shoshani, the spokesman for the Israel Defense Forces, saying a short time ago the strikes hit dozens of targets there. He says that includes Iranian naval vessels, including missile ships.
You know what's crazy is we have, well, in particular, Israel and the United States have such high quality shit. You know, their equipment, their munitions, all that shit. But then you look at a camera like this, and it's like, yo, why is it so garbage?
Vessels and guard ships. A port command center where Iranian Navy forces controlled naval operations and central infrastructure.
Brother Carney Vanguard, shout out to my man, and thank you for hanging out with us this morning. I think you sent us a raid. Yes, you sure did. So I very much appreciate that, by the way, Carney.
Used for vessel repair and maintenance. Again, this is video there provided by the IDF, and it shows the explosions as those strikes were underway. Right now, I want to take you out to this live look that we do have over the Capitol here, as Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says that anyone who replaces a top military leader in Iran won't be in the role for very long. During an update to reporters earlier today, Hegseth explained, quote, the last job anyone in the world wants right now, senior leader for the IRGC.
We're hunting and striking death and destruction from above. Iran's air defenses flattened. Iran's defense industrial base, the factories, the production lines that feed their missile and drone programs, being overwhelmingly destroyed. We've hit hundreds of their defense industrial bases directly. Their ability to manufacture new ballistic missiles has probably taken the hardest hit of all. Ballistic missile attacks against our forces, down 90% since the start of the conflict. Same with one-way attack UAVs. Think kamikaze drones, down 90%. Now, the Iranians will still shoot, we know that, but they would shoot a lot more if they could, but they can't. The last job anyone in the world wants right now? Senior leader for the IRGC or Besiege. Temp jobs, all of them.
Again, that was Secretary of War Pete Hegseth that is earlier on today. We brought that to you.
Now that's a good camera.
Now, General Dan Raisin-Kane, the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, revealed that American forces
Damn, look at
struck
that one.
more than 90 targets on Card Island, which is vital to Iran's oil network. General Kane explaining the U.S. targets included all of the island's military-only infrastructure, like air defenses, a naval base, and mine storage facilities. He added that U.S. forces are attacking deeper into Iranian territory.
Oh, that fucking sucks ass, Steve Easy. That's a terrible morning.
Dropping those 5,000-pound bunker buster bombs we've talked about into underground weapon storage facilities. Now, the U.S. also using Warthog attack planes to hunt Iranian boats in the Strait of Hormuz and Apache helicopters to strike Iranian drones. Now, as
I'm going to be honest, those Apache helicopters, they're fucking sick.
always, there is a lot to discuss here, so I do want to bring in Jonathan Saye. He is, of course, with the Foundation for Defense of Democracies and always joins us to break down the latest. Jonathan, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, it's interesting, Jimmy, that she's been wanting to show herself more often. Usually she tries to hide away because I'm loud, and so when I'm speaking on here, I've got the headphones on, I got, things I'm talking over, got sound effects and all that shit. So I'm naturally a loud talker, but when I get on a show like this, yeah, she's like, man, fuck that, I'm going under the couch or going to bed.
Hi, Josh. It's great to be with you again.
And first off, I want to start by asking you a little bit about the fact that in Haifa, we have learned that this Iranian missile, maybe several, have apparently hit this refinery or nearby. What do we know about that, and how significant is that?
It is quite significant, and this attack comes after reported strikes against Iran's energy infrastructure. And now we know for the longest time that attack in itself was a retaliatory measure, given that the Islamic Republic has been specifically focused on taking out different energy installations throughout the Persian Gulf. So that was really a response to that. In addition to that, Tehran has been, again, blocking the Strait of Hormuz. So this has been a measure, this has really been a new theater in the war, that the focus is also shifting, going beyond just military and repression, and there's an economic battle, targeting one another's economic infrastructure. And for the implications as to what happened in Israel, it is quite significant. This country has been dealing with war for years now. I think the populations of both Iranians and Israelis are increasingly getting at war fatigue. So we're really reaching a point where we need to move forward with a more
Yeah, Frank, she's right here, right above my head right now.
more decisive decision-making as to how we envision this war to carry on. What is the long-term strategy here?
And of course, there to the right-hand side of your screen, that is some of the video here coming in from the IDF. They're saying, of course, that they have struck the Caspian Sea, the Iranian vessels there. How significant of a move is that as you take a look at all of this as a whole?
It's brutal.
It really tells you that this campaign has thoroughly, effectively decimated the Islamic Republic's naval force. But that said, when we raise
Over 101 ships now, 101 ships, and it may be even more by now.
alarms about the regime's boat capabilities, naval assets, we're mostly talking about the Persian Gulf.
What's up, my man KP in the chat, as well as chatting with Stacks. Good morning to you guys. Hopefully you're enjoying your Friday morning so far. Definitely know that we are.
In the Strait of Hormuz. The Caspian Sea geographically is really far from that area. It is still significant that they were able to take out some of these targets. Many were not really predicting Israeli strikes to go as far as the north near the Caucasus Mountains. But again, on a military level, it tells you that the Iranian skies are open for operations. But when it comes to destroying Iran's naval asset, the focus and the implications of major change would come from the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. But that said, the Caspian Sea front was still an area that they produced a lot of material. They repaired a lot of ships. So the implications are still there, but the focus is on the south over the north.
Okay, so we did see what they did, but I want to see what Iran did to the oil refinery in Israel. That's what I really care about. That's why we clicked on here. But let's see if we get any update from it. Oh, it looks like we got some update.
And
let's see.
Concluded that statement by saying, let's see how you react addressing the Iranian people. So he is very well aware that ultimately comes down to the masses in Iran that are anti-regime to take to the streets. So the question is how
this is Central Command talking about the boats they bait, or the ships / boats that they blew up.
We're facilitating that. There's a division of labor between Jerusalem and Washington. Seems like Israel has been leading a lot of the repression apparatus front, taking out some of these besieged commanders. But I think the next phase for us would be interesting to see whether there's going to be any efforts of arming the Iranian populace, or if the hyper-local strikes would go higher in numbers. So far,
yeah, but that's all speculation. I don't care about speculation. Anyways, we're going to move on from that. We have plenty of stuff on the update of Iranian war. So Just give us a minute. We're going to redirect your attention over to Trump. He had a bilateral meeting with the Japanese prime minister, by the way. I think that was yesterday. It might have been the day before. I can't really remember. My days get collided. But nonetheless, there was a bombshell that Trump made during this bilateral meeting. And I'm going to be honest, those are the times that I actually do enjoy Trump. You know, when he just says it like it actually fucking is. I actually appreciate shit like that, but it's very few and far between anymore. But this motherfucker, he did drop a bomb yesterday or the day before, whatever it was.
Of course, now Japan and US are very good friends. But one question: why didn't you tell US allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So
why didn't you let us know that you were going to go fuck up Iran before you did it? That's the question.
we are very confused about.
We are very
Japanese
confused.
civil
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan?
Oh, shit.
Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor?
Oh, my God. Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor, motherfucker?
Okay, right?
Listen to everyone in the room. They went, ooh, and then dead silence.
You tell me about Pearl Harbor, okay? Right? He's asking me.
What's up, Claire?
No, you believe in surprise, I think much more so than us. And we had to surprise him, and we did. And because of that surprise, we knocked out, the first 2 days, we probably knocked out 50% of what and much more than we anticipated doing. So if I go and tell everybody about it, there's no longer a surprise, right? Okay, one more.
And that's all I cared about was that little exchange right there, man. That shit was epic. All right, we got to move on, though. We got to move on. Here we go. Bibi, on this whole thing, Bibi Netanyahu, I believe there's a reporter that says ridiculous that we dragged U.S. into this war. I think that's the way it's being looked at right now. I can only tell by the title. I haven't watched it yet. We're going to figure out what's happening here. This was yesterday.
Well, I think we have concrete goals, how to do it, how to end it. We want to, as I said, decimate the ballistic missile program, which we're doing, decimate the nuclear program, which we're doing.
What's up, Two Will
I
Jesus?
think that those are goals that are achievable, but I'm not going to put a schedule or a stopwatch on it. I think we have goals that have to be achieved, and we're not counting the days. But I will say this.
Yeah, she's a super, super rare cat, man. Getting a orange cat that's female and long hair combined is like super rare. But she's awesome, man. I love that cat.
This canard that we dragged the United States into it is not just a canard. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I mean,
why is he talking so low?
I think President Trump
Say
said
it with the
that-
chest, motherfucker. We got Beezer in the chat. Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat.
said it as well many times. There's always a danger in acting. But in conditions of existential threats, there's a much greater danger in not acting. What do you think would have happened if America did not act now? Just imagine what would have happened. In a few months' time, no more than a year, Khamenei, still alive, would have ordered the beginning.
Hey, he just said, I'm still alive. Did you hear that shit? Still alive, by the way.
Khamenei, still alive, would have ordered the beginnings of the new.
I thought he was talking about himself at first, but he was actually talking about the opposition. My bad.
Nuclear program and the reconstructed ballistic missile program to move underground. Now, it'll take them a little time, maybe a few years, but you can't reach those programs. And they develop intercontinental ballistic missiles, okay? That means missiles that can hit
Yeah, motherfucker was just hiding.
Chicago and New York and Florida and Texas and California. Oh, but they don't have it yet. That's what people said. Right, let's wait. No, just
That's a great question, Steve Easy. Valid question. He's probably back there somewhere.
let them do it, just wait and let them do it. You won't be able to do it. It's the
Yeah,
last
in the
moment.
very beginning of this whole speech, yes, but we're only taking a clip from his speech. On the actual speech, he did say, hey, I'm still alive. You know what I
It
mean?
takes a little time. I mean,
What's up, Hardwire?
we
Good
had a
morning.
few months to prevent them from doing it and to just decimate these industries. and perhaps achieve this transitional government in Iran. So you'd sit back and you say, well, it's not going to happen in the next Thursday, so let's not act. I tell you that there's enormous risk in not acting, much greater risk than acting.
You already said that.
And if you
Move
think
on.
that the oil markets are in trouble today, think of Iran with nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them. Then think of the blackmail that you would endure.
He said I didn't exactly
we're
ask
gonna go to
that.
the next question.
Oh, they're trying to cut that motherfucker off quick. As soon as the guy was like, hey, by the way, you didn't answer anything I just asked. Somebody, some bitch, got on the, okay, by the way, next question. No, you're just trying to fucking protect here.
Okay, we're gonna go to the next question.
No, I think it's only fair that this is a serious subject.
What is
This is a serious subject, he said. Damn straight.
Go ahead. Go ahead, ask.
There are oil fields around the world that are burning. Gas prices are going up. The war is popular here in Israel, is not popular with many Americans. My question was, how do you see this ending? Not why, not even when. What do you imagine the day after?
Well, we have achievable goals, and I'm not going to speak about the full battle plans that we have with the United States. We're well coordinated with them. I will say this, that once we achieve our goals, then I have argued, I think, and Americans understand this very well because we're real partners. I think that what has to be done is to have alternative routes. Instead of going through the choke points of the Hormuz Straits and the Bab el-Mandeb Straits, in order to have the flow of oil, just have oil pipelines, gas pipelines, going west through the Arabian Peninsula, right up to Israel, right up to our Mediterranean ports, and you've just done away with the choke points for forever. That is definitely possible. So I see that as a real change that will follow this war. But I also see this war ending a lot faster than people think.
What's up, Zip Tie? Great to see you in the chat, by the way, and thank you for that. Make sure you guys double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. We have well over 300 people in here combined with both of these streams. Hit that like button if you guys are on the horizontal. Listen, you guys don't have to like the craziness that's happening, but you guys can like it for me and what we do here. So thank you for that.
I think you have to, in war, you have to grit your teeth. Churchill said that democracies suffer from the slumber of democracies, as he called it. And they only wake up, he said, they may wake up only when they hear the gong, the jarring gong of danger, is the way he put it. Well, you're hearing the jarring gong of danger. The jarring gong of danger is Iran gets nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles. That's not a jarring gong. That is an apocalypse. Don't let it happen. And the function of leaders is to stand and tell people the truth, even when things are uncomfortable. That's what you have to do. And you don't always see the danger in time. But leaders are tasked with the task of seeing danger in time and acting on it. And I hope that in time, people will see the wisdom and the courage of President Trump's decision and his leadership and the fact that we're working together.
So
America's not
this,
fighting.
just for full transparency, this part happened yesterday. We do a chronological timeline of, in one single hour, we take basically the last 24 hours and we bring it up to present time right this second, essentially. So this part did happen yesterday.
For Israel, America is fighting with Israel for a common goal, to protect our future, to protect civilization against these barbarians.
SST, I got you.
Next question, one question, Guy Azriel from I-24 News.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Guy Azriel, I-24 News. President Trump said today he did not like the Israeli strike on the Iranian gas fields. My question to you, was the president aware of Israel striking that gas field? Did you approve it? And please, if you may, do you see any signs that the Iranian regime is collapsing? And what assurances do you give the Israeli public that if it does stand on its feet, we will not see another wave of a war with Iran in maybe 5 or 10 years?
Well, I'll
Quick
say
answer.
two things. Fact
It's going to be a super quick answer.
number one
and it's ended right there.
Israel acted alone against.
Yeah, so he just said that Israel acted alone on attacking that, which I'm glad that he did say. Iran war, Pentagon seeks another $200 billion in additional funds. Now, we reported yesterday while we were talking about the Pentagon, actually, when Hegseth and General Kane were giving a speech or whatever, and we discussed that yesterday. So let's go ahead and bring this up. It is a more in-depth what this $200 billion is and what it's for. And essentially, the Pentagon is asking the White House / Congress for another $200 billion.
We want to now continue to get updates on the war in Iran and some of the latest demands from the Pentagon for more money. And then also, what about the thought of possibility of boots on the ground for U.S. American forces? So we want to break all of that down for you right here on Live Now from Fox. I want to bring in our next guest to help do that from Politico, Paul Mc.
Yeah, Bonnie, I'm America only. So Team America and not fighting somebody else's war. Does that clear it up for you?
Larry, great to have you on covering the Pentagon. And first off, I want to talk about this new...
They need to fix his popping on his microphone over there.
Supplemental package that the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, there was earlier reporting this week that it was going to be expected maybe 50 to 75 billion, but the ask here is $200 billion.
Yeah, it's pretty astronomical, right? I mean, I think even back when the height of Iraq and Afghanistan, there was yearly supplementals.
Yeah, but sadly, that money wouldn't be funding any of this. They're going to Congress to ask to print $200 billion more dollars. That's why they're asking for it. That's why they're not just taking it from some sort of account and doing it. I'm sure they depleted, their funds that they didn't have to ask for, but now they're asking Congress to print $200 billion more for them.
That were $100 billion. I mean, there's a lot of money, but this war's been going on for 3 weeks, so $200 billion is pretty steep here. I mean, there's been various estimates by think tanks and former Pentagon comptrollers that we've running 11, 12, $20 billion so far. So I mean, the war is costing a lot of money. I mean, the munitions we're using are exquisite precision munitions that some of the precision guided missiles are $2 to $5 million a pop. The Patriot interceptors are about $2 million a piece, and at least dozens of those have been fired off by the U.S. and Gulf allies. So the bill is going to be pretty steep to replace a lot of this equipment and just to keep ships at sea, troops fed, obviously, and housed overseas and things like that. It's going to be very expensive, but 3 weeks in,
What's up, Virginia Chaos? My man, happy Friday. Fuck it up Friday.
$200 billion.
Hit that like button, everybody.
Is a big, big ask.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And let's also continue to talk about where we're at right now.
Beezer, just because you said that, fuck it. We haven't even done the money part yet. Let's just go ahead and get it over with now.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Facts.
Denied.
But I still love you guys.
Now on the timeline, of course, we heard earlier on, 4 to 5 weeks. President Trump has said over and over again that they are ahead of schedule. We hear that from CENTCOM. We hear that from the Department of Defense. So where do you think we are right now in these moving timelines?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, there is no real timeline, right? I mean, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth today said that we're ahead of schedule, but didn't offer exactly what any sort of schedule or time frame might be, which is hard to do in war. I mean, admittedly, but they're not offering really a strategic end game here, right? The administration is saying, well, regime change isn't really the end game, and but they hope it happens. They're giving a lot of tactical successes as kind of strategic indicators. Ships sunk, missile emplacements hit, and things like that. But we're not totally sure what the end or what victory will look like yet.
And I think you might be wrong on that, Hardwire. They're asking Congress for $200 billion, and the only way that they can get that is by printing it. It's not like they have a fund or something like that. That's them literally doing a funding bill. It's a funding bill. And anytime there's a funding bill, that's us printing money. Double check me on that.
Let's also talk about the notion that there could be a possibility of boots on the ground for U.S. forces. Where are we at right now in that thinking, and what has the president been talking about?
Oh, that's incredible. We only got 19 likes right now, dude. I understand you guys don't like this shit. I know it's fucking crazy, but you guys can like it for me and what we're doing here, giving you guys facts. This is what we do Monday through Friday, and then, of course, Saturday morning for members only. Let's get them likes up, man. Double tap that screen. Let's get it.
Yeah, as we reported today, there are discussions in the Pentagon at the White House about sending a few thousand more troops to the region. That doesn't necessarily mean troops on the ground in Iran, right? I mean, these could be missile defense, logistic, things like that, but probably also some infantry, right? There's 2,200 Marines currently aboard the U.S. Tripoli and 2 other ships heading from the Pacific to the Middle East right now. Those Marines can do a variety of things. They can do air defense. They can seize small islands, you know, Iranian islands in the Gulf there. That would help open up the Strait of Hormuz.
What up, 5150? Good morning to you. Happy fucking up Friday.
Things like that. So there's a lot of things those Marines could do, and they should arrive probably in about a week or so, it looks like.
And is the worry, too, that, you know, as you continue, the Department of Defense continues to really crank out the levers here of war and the possibility of putting boots on the ground?
Yes. Anytime that you anytime that you print a single dollar, you're devaluing the already in circulation dollar. That's correct. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts, essentially.
Is the notion there that it'd be harder to wrap up once again and really stick to those timelines that they talked about earlier?
Yeah, and putting troops on the ground is a whole new war. It's a very different operation. I mean, you can do airstrikes for weeks.
What's up, Big Dan? Good morning.
So months with little. I mean, there have obviously the U.S. refueling plane went down, killed 6 airmen.
Yo, real quick, I have to interrupt again. I'm sorry, everybody, but 5150, that is way too funny. Send me your money. It's about church, but yeah, anyways.
But once you put people on the ground, as we saw in Iraq and Afghanistan, it's a different war. Things happen, mistakes happen, the population can rise up. I mean, it's a completely different operation than this is. And that's when you get into a long, grinding conflict, the type of conflict that the president ran on 2 years ago, saying he would not get the U.S. involved in.
Yeah, so we will definitely continue to take a look at all of the developments.
All right, and we're going to move on as well. Iran war, Trump considers sending military reinforcements to the Middle East. And I really, as everybody knows here, my stance on this whole thing, I really dislike us sending more troops, more resources, and then on top of that, the idea of boots on the ground is something that is sickening to me.
All right, welcome back. I'm Austin Westfall. Reuters says that the Trump administration is considering deploying thousands of U.S. troops to reinforce its operations in the Middle East. The outlet saying the deployments could help provide Trump with additional options as he weighs expanding U.S. operations with the Iran war now well into its 3rd week. Reuters' Phil Stewart had the reporting. He's here with us. And Phil, final decisions haven't been made yet, so how far along does this planning appear to be at this point?
Is pretty mature, and the discussions are the big question. You know, how close is the president to deciding not just about what
that is hilarious, Virginia chaos,
whether to deploy these forces. We get the sense that the reinforcements are sort of inevitable as this operation carries on. But really, what is he going to do when it comes to these goals?
Hey, Diane, I very much appreciate that, by the way. Hopefully you enjoy your stay here.
That haven't really been incorporated into military planning yet, or into military actions yet, like securing the Strait of Hormuz, potentially occupying a key island that is crucial for Iran's oil industry, and whether or not it's going to go after, whether the U.S. is going to try and secure Iran's stocks of.
I got you, Steve.
Why are you gay? Highly enriched uranium.
You know, ultimately, we talk about a lot of the reports that are happening behind the scenes, and then we watch every day.
You are gay.
President Trump live at White House press events. So there's kind of this if you will, a gap between the public messaging versus what we're hearing behind the scenes. How would you describe that gap as far as boots on the ground goes?
Well, today it was really interesting. The president said two things. He said first that he wasn't planning on sending troops anywhere, and then he said after that if he was planning on doing it, he wouldn't tell a reporter. And so I think he's the White House said when we
the way that he answered it was no, but if we were going to, I wouldn't be telling you.
When we asked them about the story,
that happened yesterday.
That they're keeping the president keeps his options open, and I don't think you heard very much different today from the president. He just said at this moment we're not sending anyone we're not sending anybody anywhere because he hasn't decided on that. And then secondly, if he did make a decision to have a major change in policy or plans, he wouldn't announce it like that. He would probably use the element of surprise or try and incorporate it into planning in a way.
I very much appreciate that, Alwan. And yeah, man, we're doing this head down, focused Monday through Friday, and then Saturday morning for members only. It's everyday grind, bro.
That wouldn't be revealed, kind of off the cuff at a press event.
Do we have any level of clarity about where U.S. troops are being considered for deployment?
Interesting,
Would this be
Hardwire.
off the shores of Iran near the Strait of Hormuz? Would this be up further north toward Karg Island? Do we have any indicators?
So, the discussions are on those 2 points, and what we revealed in our reporting was that there is actually discussions and planning around the idea of deploying U.S. ground forces or U.S. forces. There might be Marines along the coasts of on the shores of the Strait of Hormuz to help ensure.
Stop the cap.
Sure that ships aren't attacked by kind of short-range rockets, and then also the question about Karg Island is a live one because we saw this week a real escalation in attacks and counterattacks on Iran and Gulf energy infrastructure.
Okay, we're gonna leave it at that. Let's go ahead and see if we get any specific exact amount here. That's actually what I'm waiting for, is to hear if they're going to be deploying more troops, how many that would be if they happen to have that. And it didn't look like they do have that. It's being considered. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on into this Middle East latest. Hegseth warns that U.S. military controls Iran's fate. Now, this came out roughly about 10, 11 o'clock last night, my times in Central Standard Time. And this is leading us up into the CENTCOM says the F-35 jet was forced to make an emergency landing after Iran combat mission. And luckily, our buddy Hal Kempfer is there to break it all down for us. And then we have the terrible news of breaking news just as of an hour ago. Chuck Norris dead at 86 after hospitalization. Man, that's just absolutely terrible. Let's go ahead and bring this up and we'll discuss here.
All right, you're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall. Let's bring in Professor Alon Burstein. He's here. He's the host of the Israel-Palestine.
What's up, Ghost? And yeah, we heard that that was the original amount that was being sent. That was the original number. But now they're considering even more troops after that amount.
Report. I'm going to get straight into the audience questions today. Alon, we've been having the viewers send these in. We got the first one up from Danny in Delaware saying, do you believe Hegseth and or Trump underestimated Iranian firepower and resolve?
Good to see you, Austin, and as always, good questions from the audience. It's a matter of speculation because one of the things that Trump does exceedingly well is always represent things as though that's exactly how I wanted it to be. By now it's very, very obvious that in June of 2025, during a 12-day war, neither Israel nor the United States really believed that they had destroyed the nuclear capabilities of Iran, but Trump and Netanyahu were both saying, yes, it's entirely destroyed because that's how they wanted to present it. So it's difficult to know if, in fact, when they both say, this is what I expected, this is how we thought it would be, if that is, in fact, what they thought or not. I will say that when it comes to preparations for the Iranian retaliations, it does seem like the United States has been taken by surprise. And I think they were taken by surprise by more than one thing. First of all, they were taken by surprise by the fact that Iran was willing to actually carry through on their threats, both of blocking the Straits of Hormuz and at retaliating at the entire region. Iran always said they are going.
Right, and they really did do it. They did retaliate to the point where they're hitting their neighbors but it's essentially our shit. But trust me, these countries don't like when missiles are raining above into their country. They fucking hate that shit, especially the Gulf states over there, the Gulf countries. But let me go ahead and see if we get a certain update here that I'm particularly looking for on this whole thing. We heard a little bit of the speech this morning from Netanyahu, but there's an actual clip here that is, I don't know if he's just playing it over or if we're listening.
The States did not know about this. This was
Yeah, they're just playing it in the background.
Israel is
okay. So let me go ahead and just speed up here. We're gonna get to the more important shit. Because a lot of it's like questions from what we're looking at right here. I'd rather get like an actual. Let's see what this is about here.
Straits of Hormuz. Iran has such a long coast along the straits, and all it would take is
people are like, how is Iran able to shut it all down? Well, let me show
5
you.
ballistic missiles or 10.
So all this that you see, this whole north part of the strait, that is all Iran. It's very easy for Iranian, the military and anybody that's using these ballistic missiles, they hide them underground on purpose because if they were above ground, they would get fucked up, right? So they're in tunnels and deep below underground. And so the way that they work on this is they drive them out from the fucking, because they're on wheels. It's like a truck. And they bring them over and they set them up and they launch ballistic missiles, theoretically. This is why they have the power to do this and shut it all down, that anything that passes, they'll just fucking strike it with a ballistic missile. That's no joke. And that is along the entire coast of Iran there.
And drones that are fired at a ship, and you can't protect every single inch of the sky and every single ship. And remember, these oil tankers, if they get hit, it's massive oil spills. It's physically, so a lot of these countries are estimating, not possible without boots on the ground to actually push Iranian forces back from the coast.
Well, Ghost, what's really hard about that is, aside from our bunker busters, of course, they can get down below without us putting boots on the ground. But doing any type of tunnel, bunkers, anything underground, it's going to really require boots on the ground. And I'm totally against boots on the ground.
So that's one reason. A second reason that is being echoed in various different countries, in France, the United Kingdom, is saying they would be willing to do so if they actually felt that this war has an agenda. They're doing so until it ends in a certain way. But at this point, even Secretary of War Texas is saying it'll end when Trump says it ends. So these countries are now less willing to commit. I remind everyone that in the first days of the war, the United Kingdom and France both said that they were going to send aircraft carriers to the region. And Trump got angry and said, we don't need that after we've already won, because he was saying that we've already won. Now he's asking for their help, but now they're saying, well, we thought this was going to be something that would last a couple of days. It's now lasting who knows how long. We're not necessarily willing to do that. So NATO, pretty hesitant at this point when it comes to Straits of Hormuz, both because of feasibility and because of questions of how long this is going to last. The other countries in the region, how prepared are they? The Allies...
Oh, wow, Ghost. No, I didn't see that. He said, you might have covered it, but 19-year-old Iranian Olympic wrestler was executed in the street for protesting. The official charge was war against God. Wow.
The different alliances in the Middle East are constantly shifting. And it's going to be way too complicated to try to get into all the ins and outs. But just as an example, if we go back 10 years, there was a broad Middle Eastern alliance against Qatar. Saudi Arabia led a group of Arab countries, including Syria, including Iraq, including Bahrain, including the United Arab Emirates, all to boycott Qatar and try to suffocate it, punishing them for what they thought was incitement against them in Al Jazeera, and also for promoting international terrorism.
Definitely interesting. Let's see if we get any other... Oh, this is something that we're... A new map. Let's see what's happening here.
They're all on the same side at the moment.
Okay, they're talking about Karg Island, where 90% of basically the oil of Iran is processed. And that is a very, very strategic island. And recently we did fuck them up, but we only took out their military assets. We didn't fuck up their oil or their producing, the refineries, any of that shit. We didn't touch any of that. And that's on purpose, because that puts us in a whole different bracket against the world, actually. That would put extreme pressure and ramp up this war to be that next level.
Fighting Iran. So if this did escalate to a larger all-out war, chances are all that bad blood that exists between the different countries may die down in exchange for, I'd give way for a war with Iran. But there is one thing that I need to point out, and I'll point this out again and again. Iran has a very, very complicated topography. It has mountainous ridges that go across its different borders. And at this point, all this is happening with attacks from the sky. If it does go to regional all-out war, at some point, someone's going to have to be willing to invade Iran with boots on the ground. I'm not advocating and saying this should happen. I'm saying if there was an attempt.
Tell me what's been propaganda here. I've only spoken facts.
To end this militarily, what Trump initially said, unconditional surrender. We don't really have unconditional surrenders in the last, since World War II, basically, without a country being completely occupied by force. And the only country that could realistically do that, even, is the United States. And that's also not 100% sure that they could in an easy way. But none of these other countries.
It's always going to be a battle. Yeah, we'd ultimately fuck them up. But it's hard when they have those missiles, those ballistic missiles that they can literally roll from underground, bring them up topside, shoot, and stop basically any ship passing through. That's show of force. Even with that, they can always use, surprise on you, So anyways, so this happened late last night. I believe it was around midnight my time when this happened. CENTCOM says F-35 jet forced to make an emergency landing after Iran combat mission. Let's go ahead and discuss this real quick, and we'll bring it up. We got Hal Kempfert that is actually covering this morning.
Welcome back. We are continuing to track the U.S. and Israel as they continue to hit targets in Iran, aiming to dismantle.
What's up, Christopher Collins? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat.
Their infrastructure. We are hearing that they've struck over 7,800 targets so far, performed over 8,000 combat flights, and damaged or destroyed over 120 Iranian vessels. Retired Marine Intelligence Officer, National Security Analyst, and the host of the Strat podcast, Hal Kempfert, here with us tonight. Hal, some news today about an F-35 fighter jet. I'm reading some reporting here. There was an emergency landing with a U.S. F-35 fighter jet. It was flying a combat mission.
Dude. What's up, Danny? Great to see you in the chat, bro.
Over Iran, and then it had to make an emergency landing. The pilot, according to the U.S. military, is in stable condition. CNN says that the jet was believed to be hit by Iranian fire. If that's the case, would this be the first time that a U.S. fighter jet was hit in the sky amid this war?
As far as I can tell, it's the very first time. It hasn't happened. In fact, I have been really surprised that we haven't had more aviation mishaps or actually U.S. aircraft or for that matter, Israeli aircraft come under fire. Early into this thing, we jointly declared air superiority over most of Iran. And then that quickly matriculated into the term air dominance, which means that we dominate the airspace. But it's not the same thing as air supremacy, which means basically we can fly anywhere we want uncontested. And you saw today what appears to be that an F-35, a stealth fighter, with all the stealth systems and all the stealth stuff that's available to it, was presumably targeted and sustained damage. And it sounds like the pilot was injured as well. So
damn.
It just kind of
Hey, by the way, we have over 400 people in here. Make sure you guys double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. Hit that like button if you're on the horizontal. Very much appreciate your guys' laborious work on that.
Cautionary tale. And by the way, if we can go for another few weeks and we don't have another thing like this, that will be just amazing in the annals of warfare. But it's a dangerous business, and these things do happen.
What's up, Extra Surprise?
Coming in from
Good
Mark
morning.
in Grand Junction, saying, what is the extent of the damage taken by U.S. bases, infrastructure, planes, ships, etc.? How many U.S. assets has Iran hit, and how?
That's a great question, actually.
I don't expect you to have any precise numbers. With time, we will presumably learn a little bit more about the scope of damage that has been done. But this question from Mark made me think about the initial strike that killed a number of service members in Kuwait. Are there still questions looming about how that played out?
Well, that's going to be investigated fully. And this is an excellent question because it deals with bomb damage or battle damage assessment. What have the bad guys inflicted upon us? What casualties have we sustained? What damage have we sustained to weapons, armaments, systems, headquarters, whatever it is? Obviously, we have taken some losses. There was we took a casualty. Someone was, a service member was killed in Saudi Arabia. Still don't know exactly what happens there. It's the fact it was in Saudi Arabia kind of got my attention. And then, of course, we had that tragic thing with the Theater Sustainment Tactical Operations Center in Kuwait. But generally speaking, we've had a lot of people injured. I think it's getting close to 200 now overall. But generally speaking, we haven't sustained a number of people killed. And it doesn't sound like a lot of those were injured were serious injuries, but we're very careful, especially about anything with traumatic brain injury potential. We look at that much closer. So I think we're doing pretty good. I know we've lost some radar systems, and I'm sure we've lost some other things too. I haven't heard about major end items being taken out on these attacks on the bases. And we have a lot of air defense around the bases. And the other thing is the bases are kind of built for this. I mean, if you look at the hangars and stuff, these are not the hangars you're going to see here in the U.S. These are usually concrete revetment things.
What's up, Panelverse? Great to see you in the chat.
They're designed to resist some sort of strike.
A live look at the White House, the time in D.C., 10 o'clock on the nose. Today, President Trump was asked about the possibility of U.S. ground troops being deployed to Iran, and he said, no, I'm not putting troops anywhere. And then he said he could deploy military forces wherever he wanted, but said he'd also not tell reporters about his plan.
Yeah, he's like, no, I don't plan on doing that, but if I were, I wouldn't be telling you.
And so
we saw that yesterday. Let's go ahead and get these images that we have here. Let's go ahead and see. I think these are before and afters.
Or we're going to want to send somebody in there, whether it's boots on the ground or inspectors on the ground, depending on what this thing turns out to be, but probably boots on the ground and go in there and secure that enriched uranium and get it out of there. So that's a possible employment. Now, that would be deep within Iran. So if it was a raid, it would be a raid involving a lot of distance, a lot of logistics, a lot of capabilities, and with that, a lot of risk. So that's a possibility. Another thing that's been looked at very close with the Strait of Hormuz is the number of islands that you have around the Strait of Hormuz. And the idea is that maybe the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit could go in there and possibly take one or two of those islands. And I'm going to throw out something I haven't heard anybody talk about yet, but three of them.
Yeah, I did it in the middle of a story, actually. Usually we do shit like that, like, in between stories, but, actually we're going to keep that up right now. Let's go ahead and just embrace our fuck-ups. Come all the way around the world. We need to embrace thy fuck.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck ups when you have tomorrow's fuck ups to look forward to? You are a fuck up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Embrace thy process. Back to this.
Those islands are actually claimed as sovereign territory by the
What's up, TVT?
UAE.
Good morning.
That has been a dispute that goes back to the Shah's time in the early 70s. They claim they own those islands. And the UAE just had its gas facilities targeted by Iran. And you're getting the impression that the GCC, Gulf Cooperation Council countries might be more willing. In fact, Saudi Arabia was pretty clear that they might be more willing to get involved in this. I could see a situation where maybe the Marine Corps goes in, basically takes an island, and then we do a handoff to a GCC country to hold the island.
Well, what did we tell you, Steve? You must embrace it.
While we move on and get ready to attack another island. That's a very, very distinct possibility. That just all depends on how long this thing goes, though.
Talking about the Strait of Hormuz, Joshua has this question. Why wasn't the strait secured in the beginning of the conflict? Or perhaps, Al, why wasn't some effort taken to secure?
Well, because I already answered that whole thing with the whole aspect of ballistic missiles.
Before the war broke out.
We could do something like that. There really is no way to secure the strait. It is a huge area.
That's exactly right.
There's and Iran.
You can't just secure it.
It's on islands. It's across most of the strait, pretty much the entire strait,
there
I
it
should
is.
say. And if you look there, you see the geography. There is no physical way to secure the strait. Even if we were to put a bunch of U.S. Navy vessels, all we would have been doing is putting them in harm's way for dubious gain. It really wouldn't have done anything. for us. The big thing now that you're saying, and you heard it when we're talking about some of the things like 120 or maybe 150 boats, ships have been taken out. What we're hitting now, where those big numbers are coming from, are these very small boats that the Revolutionary Guard Corps has in and around the Strait, and of course around the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman as well. But they have these smaller boats, and so I mean they count. I mean, if you take out one of those boats, you take out one of those boats, you put it on the board, and you count it just like anything else. But I will say that depending on how long this goes, that could be it could be 120, 150. I would expect that in the coming days we'll see it getting to the hundreds. And depending on how long this goes, we're going to see it get over 1,000 and maybe into the thousands of small boats, because the Revolutionary Guard Corps has all of these small boats. And that's a big problem that we have in securing the Strait of Hormuz. But as a practical matter, there really isn't any military way to quote.
If you think that whole thing is just 20 miles, you should think again. This is not 20 miles. Where are you getting that from? That maybe just this little tiny fucking spot is 20 miles, but dude, look at the geography. You could set up all the way around. You can set up ballistic missiles to hit anything in this strait. What are you talking about?
In securing the Strait of Hormuz, but as a practical matter, there really isn't any military way to quote secure the Strait of Hormuz. It couldn't be done.
The Turkish foreign minister was talking today. He said that Turkey is talking to Iran and the United States about ending.
Kiefer, I got you.
Why are you gay?
The war. Is a third party necessary to get this war finished? And is a third party required to get this thing to the finish line in the same way that we're hearing the U.S. and other countries trying to play a mediator with the Russia-Ukraine war? We've heard of Egypt and Qatar being a third party with the Palestinians and the Israelis. For this conflict between the U.S. and Israel and Iran, is something like that necessary?
Well, it's not absolutely necessary. Could it be helpful? Yes, it could be helpful. And I can see Turkey playing a role. The only issue I really see there is that if you look at the geopolitical dynamics of the Middle East, Turkey and Iran have a lot of differences. And in fact, a great many differences. Now, I will say they do probably agree on one thing, that certainly Turkey doesn't want a Kurdish sovereign territory in its country, and Iran doesn't want a Kurdish sovereign territory in its country. So they might have some dialogue on that level. But you also have to recall that Turkey has been fired upon by Iran. They have been actually the recipient of Iran's wrath in terms of its response to this whole thing. So could they play a role? Potentially. Does it provide another channel for dialogue? Yes. I don't really see this war ending, in the coming days, coming weeks, very possible. Coming days.
No, if they're asking, the Pentagon is asking for $200 billion more, I can promise you this shit ain't going to be wrapped up quickly. Yeah, it just lets us know we're going to be there for a minute. All right, we're going to go into our very last story here. We have a very sad way we're going to have to end this morning. Just an hour ago, we have breaking news. Now, this is breaking onto media. I do believe he died yesterday, but Chuck Norris, dead at 86 after hospitalization. So let's go ahead and bring that up. We'll go ahead and discuss it briefly, and we'll set ourselves up for a raid as well.
Welcome in here on Live Now from Fox. My name is Josh Breslow, and we are following some breaking news, a very sad breaking news update right now, as we have learned that legendary actor Chuck Norris has died at the age of 86. The information here coming in from his family a short time ago, and I want to pop this up on your screen. This is a post from TMZ reporting the news first, saying, quote, Chuck Norris has died at 86. We do have video right here that I want to pop up on your screen of some of his previous appearances that were filmed by our different Fox affiliates, as his family posted on his official page on Instagram, which has about 3 million followers. They said, quote, it is with heavy hearts that our family shares the sudden passing of our beloved Chuck Norris yesterday morning. While we would like to keep the circumstances private, please know that he was surrounded by his family and was at peace.
What's up, Frogzilla? Good morning.
To the world, he was a martial artist, actor, and a symbol of strength. To us, he was a devoted husband, a loving father and grandfather, an incredible brother and the heart of our family. He lived his life with faith, purpose, and an unwavering commitment to the people he loved. Through his work, discipline, and kindness, he inspired millions around the world and left a lasting impact on so many lives. While our hearts are broken, we are deeply grateful for the life he lived and for the unforgettable moments we were blessed to share with him. The love and support he received from fans around the world meant so much to him, and our family is truly thankful for it. To him, you are not just fans, you were his friends. We know many of you had heard about his recent hospitalization, and we are truly grateful for the prayers and support you sent his way. As we grieve this loss, we kindly ask for privacy for our family during this time. Thank you for loving him with us. With love, the Norris family. Again, Chuck Norris dead at the age of 86. His family confirming that in that social media post to his 3 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah, there's a lot of sad things going on, man. A lot of, like, this whole war is sad. This whole thing with Chuck Norris is sad. It's been a sad news day, you know. It's been actually pretty sad like that the last week or two, you know. So listen, I can't thank you guys enough. Obviously, I cannot do this shit without you guys. I know that sounds cliche as fuck, but it's true, and I'm very honored to be able to do it. So listen, we're going to be back Monday morning for more of the world's madness, but for you guys that are members, we do members only Saturday morning, every Saturday morning at 10 a.m., and we'll see you guys tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, by the way. And stick around for the raid. We're going to be raiding our buddy Chaotic Truth. He's live right now, so make sure you guys let him know that we're coming through with the Mike Ball raid. And until then, God bless everyone. We'll see you guys very soon. Much love, honor, respect to everybody. Peace.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart steel and a spirit unbroken, he rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit.